into hour number 4. Jeff Steinberg, the senior editor of Executive Intelligence Review. A cornucopia of key information is our guest. LaRouchePub.com is the website. We also have writer, director, actor Sean Stone joining us. Do another 20 minutes with these guys. Short segment now, 12-minute segment coming up. Then they're going to leave us. I'm going to continue with some key economic news after that. But very excited to be having Lyndon LaRouche joining us sometime live next week, getting that lined out. And just an amazing overall discussion we've had. In this short segment, I want to finish up with the economic front, and then your concern about the heat up of the Ring of Fire, Jeff, because to have that coming from you, that's really scary, because I know how researched and scholarly you are. But continuing with what's happening to the economy, clearly we're in a depression, but they're telling us everything's wonderful, even though housing prices are plunging at record levels. Where do you see this going? What are some other key economic indices?
Well, you've got a lie coming out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics today. They're completely cooking the books on the actual employment situation in the United States. The real accurate figures are probably that we're facing an unemployment figure of over 20% and a combined unemployment and underemployment figure of over 30%. That's if you take the entire population from the age bracket from, say, 17 to 65 or 64 and look at the total size of that population and then start looking at the official labor force statistics from that number, what they've simply done has been to write off millions of people out of the labor force in order to carry forward a lie.
Well, even 60 Minutes admits the real national unemployment is 22, California 33. Every other private group debates 22 to 24, but they're telling us that the recession ended in June of 2009.
Right. They're all lying, and the Obama White House is desperate over the fact that their view is that if they can't fake the unemployment numbers to 8% or less, then Obama's reelection is doomed, and so they're going to lie, cheat, and steal any way that they can to create a false illusion of a, quote, recovery, when in fact anybody who is out there living in this economy knows that there is no recovery. It's getting worse.
Jeff, half the restaurants or more that I've gone to for years are shut down.
That's right. And think about the fact that the states of the United States are collectively bankrupt.
43%, even the Wall Street Journal admits. How are they going to go into federal receivership to bail them out when the feds are even more bankrupt?
That's right. And if you start printing money to deal with this without writing off the trillions of dollars in complete phony gambling debt that's been assumed by taxpayers, then you're stuck with the worst hyperinflationary situation on a global scale, comparable to what happened in Weimar Germany in the fall of 23. But look, there's another aspect of this that gets us beginning to talk about this Ring of Fire issue. There are, as you identified in your interview with Piers Corbin, there are people who understand that while the science is not yet perfected, there are ways in which to establish an early warning system about the onset of these earthquakes and other seismic activities. And the Obama White House, and this is something that a group of scientists are screaming and yelling about, the Obama White House has shut down one of the most advanced of these programs called the Destiny 1 satellite, which was a combination of a radar satellite and a LISAR satellite that would have detected and given us a better early warning indication through monitoring of both solar radiation and seismic activity when and where you might be facing.
Jeff, stay there. Stay there. Got a break. I want to get your take on this because I even saw ABC News 2 weeks before the earthquake predicting it, so they know what's going on. Let's get your take on that, and then we'll get Sean Stone's take as well. Infowars.com.
For centuries, silver has been used as a powerful natural antibiotic, and as a listener to this station, you probably already know the benefits of using colloidal silver. With so many websites to choose from, finding a reputable, patriotic company with great products at affordable prices can be a difficult task. Introducing UtopiaSilver.com. UtopiaSilver.com carries the best, most effective, and most affordable colloidal silver and colloidal gold products in the industry. UtopiaSilver.com also carries products to fit your lifestyle, including weight loss, immune system defense, cleanses, herbs, joint and bone care, and much more. First-time customers using promo code GCN50 will receive 50% off all colloidal products. Visit us today at Utopia Silver. That's UTOPIA Silver. UtopiaSilver.com or call 888-213-4338. That's 888-213-4338. UtopiaSilver.com. Taking back America's healthcare one American at a time.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, it seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
This message starts with a great offer from Big Berkey Water Filters, because we don't want you drinking dangerous water 1 minute longer. Right now, purchase any filter system from BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com to get your choice of 2 Berkey Sport bottles, a KDF shower filter, a set of fluoride filters, or our new sight glass spigot absolutely free. Why do this? Because over 60% of municipal water is fluoridated, and at less than 2 cents per gallon, Berkey Water Filters purify both treated and untreated water, removing dangerous chlorine, fluoride, and other contaminants. Big Berkey water filters are powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water, so they're perfect for rainwater collection systems and emergency preparedness. Remember, Big Berkey includes free shipping on every order over $50, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit BIGBERKEY waterfilters.com or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com or call today 1-877-99-BERKEY.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Going back to Sean Stone for this final segment, little 12-minute segment we've got, and Jeff Steinberg. Sean, hearing what he's breaking down, the fact that even ABC News 2 weeks before the earthquake and tsunami said, will the giant moon cause tectonic action in the Ring of Fire around the Pacific? I mean, they tell us, the UN said back at Copenhagen a year and a half ago, they said the sun has no effect on climate, which they know is ridiculous. Why don't they want us to know this? The moon, they say, has no effect, though it controls our tides. But I have astrophysicist after astrophysicist, prestigious ones on, and they say the moon doesn't just manipulate the tides and move the waves, it moves the magma. I want you to comment on that, then we're going to go back to Jeff Steinberg, because he was just breaking down the fact that they're cutting off the federal funding of the science divisions that actually monitor this.
Yeah, well, I think you have to remember what environmentalism was, is that it was a movement that sort of coincided with the end of so-called colonialism, direct colonialism by the British and French and whatnot. And so if you now are giving these nations over to their self-rulership and the concept of a nation state, which is what America and the concept of republicanism was based upon, right, from the 18th century forward, a nation state. So if you're trying to avoid nation states, if you want international controls, which is really at the end of the day decided through these financial monetary consortiums called banks and whatnot, and they're shadow banks, and then if you want to keep control, what do? Well, you promote something called environmentalism, and that basically asserts the idea that you don't have control of your country's destiny. You can't produce your own energy. You can't go to nuclear power. You can't mine coal, whatever you choose to do, because it will destroy our planet as a whole. Now the planet becomes common property, a commonwealth of all mankind. So you really have no sovereignty anymore. And that's what the environmental thing has always been about, to my mind. It's not about science. It's an ideology. And so, of course, they want to keep this environmental thing going, even though it's funny you don't really hear so much about global warming anymore, because what you're having are these drastic climatic shifts. And it's true, there are climatic shifts that are taking place, but it has to do, again, with these issues of, solar radiation, cosmic radiation.
Yeah, the only constant is change, and so they tell us, give up your rights 10,000 years ago or the sun won't come back during an eclipse. It's the same priest class manipulating and lying to us. And if you look at the grassroots of environmentalism, sure, caring about the environment is important, but the very foundations of it are admittedly the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Dutch royal family, the British royal family. It's all about modern neo-feudalism, an excuse to say that humans are a scourge, Malthusianism. I want you to continue along that line, Sean Stone, but you were starting to get into that, Jeff Steinberg. Break that down, the heart of the environmental movement. Aren't these just a bunch of green Nazis?
Well, it's ironic. Back in the 1940s, when it was really a bunch of British and Swiss oligarchs who were launching what they called conservation, they were a lot more candid. They said that Hitler gave eugenics a bad name, so we can't revive the eugenics movement, which, of course, was one of the most popular movements sponsored by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, from the beginning of the 20th century. So they chose conservation as the basis for an actual revival of the politics of eugenics. And these were explicit admissions by people like Sir Peter Scott and Julian Huxley back in the 1940s. And nothing has changed whatsoever since then. So, this is an assault against science. And the point I was starting to get at a moment ago was that the Obama administration has willfully shut down all of the crucial programs that would both give us the early warning detection potentials to avert massive human tragedy. And they've scaled back the budgets for all of the legitimate first responder programs. In fact, right now in California, if there was to be an earthquake above an either 5 or 6 level on the Richter scale, the catastrophic consequences would be enormous. There's no money left for evacuations. Mary Landrieu wrote a letter to Obama last week basically saying that the FEMA Earthquake Response Fund runs out of money as of June, and here you've got the most competent scientists saying that we are going to spend the next 2 years at least in a period of dense seismic activity, where the idea that Oregon and California and Washington State are going to escape some kind of a major seismic event is really a roll of the dice. It's a high risk, and you can't absolutely forecast long in advance, but the prospects are that you're going to get some kind of major earthquake or volcanic activity in the next few years.
And they know the sun and the moon are the big drivers. Why are they so obsessed with UN pronouncements that the sun has no effect on the climate? It controls the climate of the entire solar system. I mean, scientists decades ago with Shoemaker-Levy hitting Jupiter had to come out and admit that, okay, we get hit by big asteroids and comets every 10 to 100,000 years, on every 10 million. Why are they so obsessed with denying this? I know it was LaRouche who first developed the idea of a asteroid missile defense.
Well, one thing that we found out just in the last few days, because we wanted to find out why it is that there's a section of the nominally scientific community, some of the seismologists and geologists, who deny any relationship between solar flares and other radioactive events, electromagnetic events, and seismic. Turns out these are all people who have been the leading science advisors to Al Gore. And in fact, in 1990, Al Gore pushed through legislation that shut down all of the funding for any programs that involved attempts scientifically to figure out the causalities and develop early warning.
So, Sean, that goes back to what you said an hour and a half ago here when you were at Princeton. It's all about controlling the research so you can control the ideas and science of civilization.